Good evening, and welcome to round 3 of the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament. I am Yoko, and joining me today in the booth alongside me is McMonkey. Welcome.
Hi, Yoko.
So, both of our runners are 2-0 going into this, so the winner of this will remain undefeated going into the open portion of this. And our racers today, we've got Zeronix versus, I know I'm going to butcher the name, so bear with me, people. It's Shukpol. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right.
I think I'd go Shakupol. He helpfully pointed out that it's pronounced just. Yeah, this is an exciting match. Two racers who are undefeated going into week 3 without a mentor. Both of them putting up good times in their first couple of weeks. Zeronix putting up 2 times right around the 2-hour mark, and Shakupol getting in under the 2-hour mark in his second week. I'm interested to see how they.
And we are off and running with our hint to being the boots are up in Death Mountain. Both of our runners will have the sword, but we can't use it until we speak to Uncle. And we have our first quick map check. Tower of Hera being green pendant, with Eastern and Desert Palace both being crystal dungeons. So what type of seed do you think our runners are going to have today?
Well, having a Death Mountain boots hint, it could go either way there. And depending on how long it takes them to unlock access to Death Mountain, I'm not sure whether we'll see early boots or later boots. I'm sure they would love to see the boots nice and early in the seed. But with a Moon Pearl right away, that's a good start towards getting our Dark World access, which is the first real inflection point for the racers.
Right now we are doing standard, so that means we will be going to save Zelda and then going through the back of Escape as well.
Yeah, and picking up some very easy early bombs, which will make their escape run a lot quicker. They won't have to search through prize packs or hope for checks to have bomb packs. They're already all set to get the 3 checks at the sewers and then move right on to Kakariko.
Yeah.
Working our way down through these blue guards. A pretty standard escape here so far, using the spin strats on the first guard. Not much change between the two runners. They seem to be keeping pace with each other.
Right. And going a little bit high on that one guard there, so you don't aggro him. That's always
Yeah, there's a number of little tricks that you learn along your rando journey, and it seems these guys know quite a few of the basic ones. We'll see as they go through the seed how comfortable they are with some of the more advanced tricks.
Right, like some of the newer glitches that have been approved, Icebreaker, and of course Herapot and Diver Down.
On the map check, we saw a pendant on Hera, Eastern Desert, both crystals.
Zeronix opting to use the 2-pot strategy to take down the ball and chain guard.
Yeah, it looked like he wanted to use some sword slashes there, but just wasn't feeling very good with only 1 heart, and I don't blame him.
And we get the shovel.
Not a bad time for the shovel. I never like to see the shovel, but if I'm going to get it, being able to route it in after Maze Race on my way down to the South Shore checks is not the worst.
Right.
So Shikupo picking up just a little bit of a lead here, just a little cleaner execution down on the ball and chain guard. Looks like he may be wall pumping as well to get a few extra frames of movement to get a few second lead over Zero Nix, but it's very, very early. The boots hint today, Oro, is Death Mountain. So we've got 4 more checks here in Hyrule Castle since we've already found the map. We've got 1 here in Dark Cross and then the 3 in the sewer. Looks like Shkuple may be looking to pick up a few more bombs on his way through since the ropes are in the same prize pack as the guards.
As we make our way through the sewer part of the escape,
Zero Nix almost letting the key rat get away from him, but he managed to track him down in the corner.
and we have our Master Sword in the back of escape.
Yeah, no time to panic yet, but it is one clue that tends to lead toward an Agra-required seed. So these guys are going to really be hoping to see 2 sets of gloves or a glove and a hammer so they can try to avoid climbing that tower today.
Right. Well, there's our power glove.
All you have to do is ask.
Yep.
So pretty good escape times. Under 6:30 is I think the runners are going to be happy with that, particularly having gotten all 3 of the chests in the back of sewer.
Right. In Shipukal, I know I'm going to butcher that throughout this, so please forgive me, chat. Skip's doing the lumberjack cave. Tree pole, nothing but fairies.
Yeah, an interesting decision with 0 rupees and needing to visit the bottle vendor when he goes into town. I wonder if he's going to regret not getting the rupee crab.
Well, he just only got 50 rupees down at the bottom of the thieves' hideout in the woods, and we have 10 arrows in the Lost Woods today, where the mushroom would be.
Yeah, and with Zero Nix going the same route, he's not gaining or losing anything over Shikuple, getting the same items, the same money, the same fairies. Although he did remember that getting 1 extra kill could get him a different tier on the tree pole, but that didn't pay very much.
Right. And we are now in the bottom of the thieves' hideout. There's 50 more rupees, a full heart container, bow, and Quake.
A nice hideout, and that bow opens up Eastern Palace, assuming that they are comfortable with dark rooms, and that's a nice thing to see early when Eastern is a crystal.
Right. All right, we now have the bottom of the well check. Shield. Well, there's our single arrow, our solitary arrow.
The arrow of destiny.
Yep. What does the bottle vendor have for us? 20 rupees. Blue cane.
That's a very nice safety to have early. There's quite a few dungeons that you could end up doing early if they get early Dark World access. Going into Thieves Town with that blue cane in your pocket really makes you feel a lot more confident.
Right. And there's a mushroom, so we got the other part of the fetch quest.
Yeah, and those early fetch quests generally pay out more than when you get the fetch quest items later. So, we'll see if these guys go out of their way to route in the shovel and the mushroom checks, and see if they pay off today.
10 hours on top of the library. And a hammer at the race game.
So we have Dark World access at the 10-minute mark, which is very quick, and I'm sure they're very happy to see that hammer.
Right.
So I'll be very interested to see what their routing looks like now with the Dark World available to them, along with all of the other Light World early checks, South Shore, Eastern and Saha area. They could sequence break up the mountain so to try to look for those boots. So a lot of options, and we'll see if we get some divergence.
Right. So Shikupo doing the save and quit from the race game area, from the maze area.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to go check the shovel spot. Changed his mind. We'll see where he heads now.
Picks up the bomb that is sometimes hiding under that middle stone there in front of Link's house.
Yeah, good knowledge there to know that that bomb might be there, especially when he's running low. It's always good to top up on those bombs.
And that has a 50-50 shot of showing up.
Only 50 rupees at the shovel spot, so Shikupo not missing out on much there.
Yeah, Zora money now, right?
With so many options available to them, I'm not sure that they'll be rushing over to fake flipper Zora checks in when there's a lot of stuff that's in logic.
So Zeronix doing the standard routing, going down the South Shore, starting off with the well, while Shikupo going into Eastern. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, Eastern not a bad dungeon to do with low health early on when it's a crystal. Get it out of the way. You might want to try to route it in with pod later, but there are a number of checks here that could have progression items. So just to knock it off the list is not a bad idea.
Right, and one thing to note with the Ambrosia Seeds, the bosses of all the dungeons will have an item. So they will not have the soul, a key, the big key, compass, or the map. They will have some sort of item on them.
Which is possibly the hardest part of Ambrosia Seeds, remembering that the boss has an item and not checking extra checks. Yeah, Vortex pointing out only 4 hearts, now 5. That does make it a little bit easier. But yeah, it is pretty brave to head into Eastern with this amount of health and no fire source. But Shakopal seems to be going with no hesitation.
And we get the magic powder on Zero Nick's side in the mini Mordorm cave, 50 more rupees, and a piece of heart.
Picking up all the fetch quests early.
Right, and Shakopal getting that Stalfos quick kill.
And I imagine we're going to see Zero Nix following in Shakopal's footsteps here, heading over to the eastern area. Or not.
Right, Zero Nix going over into the Dark World, so we'll get our first Dark World access check, hopefully. Yep, Turtle Rock is a pendant along with Thieves Town. Our 5-6 crystals are Mire and Swamp, and Pod, Ice, and Skull Woods are so that's always got to be a relief when you don't have to go into.
Yeah, although it seems that more times than not, Pendant Turtle Rock ends up factoring in it.
Right. And we find the fire rod with the mirror in Hype.
So Hype Cave living up to its name a little bit too.
Shakopal going down and picking up those safety fairies.
Yeah, and that mirror making the routing a little bit easier for Zero Nix. He can head over to the pod area and knock out both dungeons. He has all the items to clear pod and Eastern, one right after the other. Although it is, no small task without a lamp to clear pod, but it's a little bit easier now that he's picked up the fire rod. As Shakopal makes his way to the Armos Knights, one more room to go. Oh, unfortunately missing one arrow there to get the quick kill, but he still is setting up to have a fairly quick Armos fight.
Right, nice and clean. Picks up the piece of heart.
And one crystal down in 17 and a half minutes. That's a pretty quick first crystal.
Right.
But I do like Zero Nix's routing here. He's able to do this a little more efficiently, pairing up Saha with the Pyramid, Pod, Eastern Palace all in one go, whereas Shakopal is going to have to make another trip over to this area in order to get them.
And Zero Nix lost a good friend Kiki.
Yeah, and being charged another 10 rupees for his trouble.
P had giving him trouble there.
Oh, and Oro in chat pointing out Xeronix has 0 bombs and wasn't able to check Saha's closet the first time through.
And Sick Kid has ether. And bombos for Xeronix.
So we won't be doing any medallion hunts today.
We know where all of them are.
So no ice rod hunt with Turtle Rock being a pendant, and no medallion hunt. So this is going to be a quick seed, right?
Well, let's hope so. Love to see a good jet seed.
Shikupo getting his first look at the Dark World map. Looks like he's heading down Village of Outcasts area. And Xeronix realizing again that he has no bombs. Unfortunately, leaving Pod, deciding to tackle Eastern first. Yeah, Vortex pointing out the first room after the lobby does have 2 bombs that he could farm to fill up. Zero maybe getting a little panicky when he realized that he had gotten all the way down there with no bombs and just deciding to finish Eastern while he thought about what to do next.
So Shikupo doing the outside part of, and we find the flipper.
Still, a good ways away from Zora money, but it's nice to have those in your back pocket. And when we get the hook shot, we'll be able to take care of Swamp and take care of all the other flipper checks when we can route them in.
Right. So we are getting a check in Thieves Town, 4 chests in the front. Hopefully we are looking for progression in.
Yeah, a little slower to check these without the boots, and he's probably cursing that he's seen the compass and map as the first 2, with one of the others definitely going to be the big key. So at most he's going to get 1 item out of this dive, assuming he's only doing the front 4. I'd be surprised to see a full clear here with so many options available, so many checks still available. Xeronix making their way through the Eastern Palace dark rooms here, picking up a key.
And Shikupo picking up the key.
Yeah, and Vortex pointing out that, without the fire rod, maybe Shikupo is feeling like there aren't as many options open as we can see, and opting to head in the back to do if not a full clear, at least checking some of the back chests.
Right.
Hellway being pretty mild to Shikupo today. Good job getting through there without taking any damage. Anytime I can escape that Hellway without damage, I feel like I've won.
Oops.
And Fire Rod making this next dark room quite a bit easier for Xeronix. So Xeronix coming out of Eastern Palace, +1 bomb. I imagine we'll see him give another try at pod. Curious, where do you think Shakupa will head once they're done with Thieves Town?
Probably warp back over into the light world and try to find the fire rod, maybe. From there he can probably maybe start to make his play up Death Mountain.
Yeah, that boots hint is just sticking in the back of their minds, and until they can pick up, until Shakupa can pick up the mirror, Death Mountain's not looking like a very attractive place to go. Maybe a bit more attractive for Xeronix, who can clear at least all of the Light World Death Mountain.
Right.
All except Mimic Cave.
Right. Well, let's hope that boots are not in Mimic Cave.
Yeah, one of the crueler places for them to be.
Right.
Yeah, Oro pointing out, very well done by Xeronix. Very quick kill on the Armos Knights.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Shakupa now beginning his on the third phase with Blind. And makes quick work of Blind. And
Nearly
for trouble. Oh, there, Ice Rod. So Blind has the Ice Rod.
Yeah, not a whole lot of value with Turtle Rock being a pendant, unless Chet is going to work their mojo and make this a PED required seed.
Oh no.
So Shakupa making their way down to Dig Game. I imagine we'll see a loop down through Stumpy and the actual Hype Cave.
Now we are always guaranteed the item here in the dig game, but the number of digs is always random. It could be between 1 and 30. The Piece of Heart.
Yeah, definitely feeling a little more comfortable now. Xeronix losing his joust with the mini Helmasaur.
Xeronix making their way through now the bottom area of Pod. I think we won't know what those. We don't even know what those items are. I think they were keys.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
That's one of the harder rooms to discern what they pick up when it's all dark.
Yeah, I believe what I saw was that it's gold-colored items are the ones that are hard to pick up in the dark rooms. Something about the gold color doesn't show up when the dark layer is on.
Right. 2 chests here in Dark Maze.
I didn't catch what the first item was in Dark Maze.
Neither did I.
Looks like Shakupal checking Pyramid, maybe heading over to the pod area.
Chat pointing out that the yellow and green palette is the same palette used for the darkness layer as well. But we have our red cane.
A very nice pickup.
Definitely. Leaves and goes back to reset the room.
Yeah, and making immediate use of the new red cane.
And Shakupal going over to check Catfish. And I assume he's probably going to route in Zora as well.
Yeah, and as Vortex pointed out, being able to route in the mushroom on his way to Catfish with the item set he has, this is good, efficient routing.
Right, what did that net us turning in the mushroom?
Just some rupees. Shakupal checking out the stun prize, just giving out a small magic. Yes, this is unfortunate for Shakupal. You know, the routing is efficient, but not going to be able to get the Zora item, being 66 rupees short at the moment.
Right, but we are able to see what's on the ledge. We do get a free look at that, and it is a piece of heart.
Yeah, so, you know, orphaning this Zora check, we'll see if that ends up being anything of significance. Never feels good to orphan things that far out of the way.
Right.
Yep, the bottle was in Saha's closet, which Zeronix has not been able to check yet due to his lack of bombs.
Zeronix making excellent work of the dark rooms as well.
Yeah, it's not as simple as it looks to hit that torch in the turtle room and not get bullied around by the turtles. And it looks like Zero, the item we didn't see in the dark maze, was his tempered sword.
So we have another sword location as well.
Zero taking down Helma pretty quickly. Two Hearts doesn't phase Zeronix.
Nope. But picks up his second crystal. So if you were Zeronix, where would you go now?
Well, with the Fire Rod and Dark World access, I think after checking Saha's closet, I'd be saving and quitting and heading over to Village of Outcasts, Skullwoods area. The mountain is tempting. It's definitely tempting to grab those boots But there's just so many checks available. He's still got Stumpy, Dig Game, all the Village of Outcasts. He can check the front of Thieves Town and complete Skull Woods. So there's a lot of value in that area.
Right.
Zero momentarily forgetting that he didn't pick up Saha.
Yep.
I imagine that's what he's heading back for. As we see Shakupal finishing up the flipper checks here, taking a glance at Lake Hylia Island, just 20 rupees, and heading up to visit our friendly neighborhood hobo.
Shad also pointing out about the splash delete as well. So what do we get from Hobo? He gives us a heart. He gives us his heart.
So we're heading up to check Lumberjack. This will be our first look at that. And we have a bit of syncing up again as Shakupal is heading the same direction.
Right. And it's a heart, piece of heart. But Shakupal making that play up Desert Mountain.
And Zeronix heading back down towards the village. He'll be picking up all of the same checks that Shakupal made, maybe heading into Skull.
Blue tunic from the old man.
So Death Mountain's having a yard sale today. We've got blue mail, we've got boots. What other clothing items?
Red mail.
Do we have any hats we can... The wrong Nintendo game.
Right. Bottle on top of the spectacle rock. We go inside the cave for 5 rupees. I don't know, maybe a various suit or a gravity suit.
There you go, yeah, we'll change this to an SMZ.
Right. Well, they're the only other suits I can think of.
The gloves might be considered clothing items, so we can find the Titan's mitts up here to keep with the clothing.
Right. So Shakupal going the top way into Paradox Cave.
Yep, and Zeronix clearing the Skull Woods back to front, which makes a lot of sense in Ambrosia when you know you're going to get an item on the boss. You can get a couple of checks along the way there and maybe skip the front altogether.
Right. Well, Shakupal going through Spiral Cave. I did not see what that item was on top of the floating island.
I think it was just a piece of art.
Okay. Well, we got our flute. Shikupo finding the flute at the bottom of the spiral cave. That opens up a lot more. That actually opens up fast travel now to get our duck.
Yeah, and looking at the dungeons that they have to finish, the items that we know about, it looks like we are a hookshot. Are we a hookshot from Go Mode?
I believe so.
Hookshot from No Mode.
Yeah, hookshot from No Mode. Method.
Gibdo's putting up a little bit of a fight for Zero, but he fought his way through.
Bugnet bombs, 100 rupees. Those are half magic, and there's the boots. So Shikupo at 40 minutes finds the boots in Paris.
Yeah, which will immediately open a couple more checks for him.
Right, Funk Rocks, King's Tomb.
Yeah, it really makes going that Northern Dark World route a little more appealing. And a good Mothula fight for Zeronix, not on full health, able to take him down with just one heart remaining. He's putting in a few heart attack boss fights here, but holding up well.
Right, and rewarded with the cake.
Now with boots in hand, Shikupo is going to go up and check the lumberjack item. And he'll get the good news that agate is not required this seed.
So Shikupo going down to release the bird. And at this time we ask for all of you to remove your hats and stand for... At 42 minutes, the goose...
Zeronix maybe forgetting they don't have the boots yet, trying to open King's Tomb without it. A few mental errors here, none of them costing a whole lot of time, but you know that they're adding up a little bit for Zero.
Right. I can only imagine how their mentors feel right now, sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, and both of these runners having picked different mentors for week 1 and 2. Zeronix running with VTorp in week 1, Ace Zero in week 2, and Shikupo, Lavin Firestorm in week 1, and Shireen in week 2. So a lot of mentors cheering them on, hopefully. Of course, all of our mentors are excellent and are cheering on all of our runners. That's one thing that's been great to see about this tournament, is the level of encouragement. The welcoming community, the Go Mode Podcast Discord in the tournament has just been excellent. So a big thank you to all the mentors who are putting in time, both in races and on the Discord, helping answer questions and helping all of the racers, myself included, improve.
Yeah. I would have signed up, but I found out about it like the week before the tournament started and registration.
Xeronix picking up their flippers here. And
Shikupo, nice play on the Mothra fight. Gets his cape and his second. And while we're just having the runners go over so far what each one has checked out, this is a good time to give a shout out to both of our runners, Xeronix and Shikupo. If you like what you're seeing here, please give them a follow. Give their mentors a follow as well as our tracker, Danny Music, doing all the hard work behind the scenes, keeping up to date with the items and everything. So please give them a follow as well.
As well as our restreamer Lumaga, who is keeping us all running here.
Right. Even us, your commentators for this race as well.
Yeah, so Xeronix really putting off the Death Mountain trip, maybe trying to minimize the number of Death Mountain trips. There's a couple schools of thought in Ambrosia. It's easy to get a little obsessed about the Boots Hint and go after it too early at the expense of routing. It seems Xeronix is leaning a little bit in the other direction, maybe putting it off a little longer than they should with all of Light World Death Mountain available.
Right. Maybe he's thinking it's on the dark side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, and we've got a Swamp Palace dip here with no hookshot, so this is, one of the slower dungeons to get into. Really hoping something, basically really hoping the hookshot is here in Swamp Palace with this play. There are 4 checks that can be made without the hookshot.
Yep. So we're hoping for the hookshot to be in one of those first 4 checks.
Yeah, really, hookshot and nothing else. Anything else in here is just going to be a time loss for 0. And with the other options available, Ice Palace is available and full clearable, although you might need to use a bomb jump in order to get to some of the hookshot locked areas, or use the icebreaker.
Right. And we see that 20 pack of bombs at the King's Tomb. This is really a bold, kind of a, I was going to say bold play here, but trying to see if the gamble pays off, looking for that hook shot.
Yeah, Shikupo almost following in Xeronix's footsteps. Looked like they were thinking about heading towards Swamp. Now fluting to head up and I guess finish Pod or tackle Pod. There's a lot of options available for Shikupo. They could do Desert, they could do Mire, they could do Ice Palace, Pod. Really, Swamp Palace is the only crystal left that they can't clear at this point.
I think for a second there, Shikupo forgot about the the portal to the Dark World.
That may be it, yeah. Yeah, and we still have not seen Zora. We've seen everything around Zora, but we have not seen Zora.
I would not be surprised if Zora actually has our hookshot.
Which would be problematic for Shakopal.
Yep, but he picks up his Bombos medallion. So now he has his set of 3.
Yeah, and once they pick up the red cane here, I misspoke earlier. They will be able to clear all of the dungeons I listed as soon as Shakopal picks up the red cane here in Pod.
Xeronix going left side on and Swamp.
Yeah, and every minute that goes by that Shakopal has boots and Xeronix doesn't, Shakopal's just putting that time, banking it, and increasing their lead.
And without the hook shot, we would not be able to get into the back end of Swamp Palace. ₹20, and he decides to warp out of Swamp Palace, knowing that he's not able to finish it.
Zero playing a lot of this seed with very low health.
Zero picking up the 20 rupees on the island in Lake Hylia, making his way over to the hobo.
Yeah, nerves may be a factor in some of the routing decisions here. This is the first restream for both of these racers. They both were, a little bit anxious coming into it. They're doing great, but it may be in the back of their mind that they've got an audience watching, that they want to, make a good accounting of themselves.
And we're sitting here rooting for both of them to do well.
Absolutely.
And they are putting on a very good show for the restream. So now with the light on there, we'll be able to finally see it was a key, and 20 rupees is what we missed down there in the basement of Pod. Now here comes the big question. What item or what was it that Zora had that Shakopal had to abandon because of not having the money at the time? King Zora has for us a life lesson.
So, bullet dodged for Shakupal.
See, right now, Death Mountain's looking pretty, you know, I'd start making that play up Death Mountain right now if I was in Zero's position.
Yeah, there's not a lot of other checks available to them left. Heading down to have a chat with the witches. I don't believe we've seen Magic Bat, and I don't believe we've seen anything in Desert Area, so we haven't seen Agina, we haven't seen Desert Ledge.
Nope.
Which are a couple of Sphere 1 checks just sitting there waiting.
Right.
Sphere 1 on Agina. Sphere 2 or 3 on the Magic Bat. We needed the hammer and the power.
I think Checkerboard's a Sphere 3.
Shakupal heading down to the Helmasaur fight. Gonna tackle the same scary dark rooms that Xeronix's are. And Xeronix finally making the play up the mountain, it looked.
And we have a good friend, the Cash Crab, today.
Dueling dark rooms from both of our runners.
Yep. Shakupal making nice work of the turtles.
Yeah, very quickly done, especially for having to light the torch. And with Xeronix having the mirror here, we may see a Tower of Hair.
Shakupal using sword strats on King Helmasaur.
And takes him down.
Yep. Xeronix going into the Tower of Herod. So we are going to get a Herod check. Finds the map burrito down at the basement.
And we're not getting a coffee.
Nope. So one item will be either in the big chest or the little chest up on the next floor. The other item would be with King Mordorm. Zero setting up the bomb jump across. Compass there.
Well done.
So
Not a.
no, that's one that so gives me trouble to do.
Yeah, so that compass being the bad news, our second Hera item is in the basement behind.
So Shakupal finally gonna go over to Dig Spot and find out that it's only 50 rupees. Three pokes with the tempered sword. Down goes King Helmasaur. I don't know why I'm calling him a king today.
He's looking very regal.
Yes. Picks up the green pendant. That's another check at these. That's another item we can get from Sahashala. Nice work on Moldorm. Abandons the item in the back. But and
speaking of Sahasrara, we've got the mitts in his brother's. So Shakupal just opened up nearly all of the rest of the dungeons for himself. He can get to Ice Palace, he can flute over to Mire, he can get to Desert Palace. So a lot of this seed just broke wide open for Shakupal.
Right, and let's see what he does. It looks like he's going to make the Ice Palace play. Zernix picking up his flute.
Yeah, being only one item away from go mode here, I think this is the right play. There's a bigger difference potentially on a go mode Mire versus a go mode Ice, especially with the Icebreaker.
Right. And there's a lot more items here in Ice to be found.
So with Titan's Mitch just sitting there in a severe 1 check, how do you think that makes Shakupal feel picking that up an hour into the seed?
I think he's grinning from ear to ear right now. He must be happy on the inside that he found that when he did. He forgot something. He kind of forgot something with the Icebreaker there.
Well, if you're already planning to do a full clear, then you're going to pick up the big key, you're going to pick up the small keys, so, it's not much of a difference going to hit the switch versus just doing the Icebreaker directly.
Right. I did not know that.
Yeah, you potentially have to climb back up the stairs after dropping with the block to pick up the small key in the next room over, which is not a huge loss of time, and if you get lucky on the keys, then you don't have to do that at all, and you can just head right down to the boss with your big key.
Right. So we're getting a Spike Cave check over on Zero's side.
Certainly a new check that we haven't seen yet.
Picks up the big key. Bottle in Spike. And there's all 4 I think that's all.
That's right. Yeah, and Shakupal gambling on the iced tea room not having an item, dropping right down to the big key chest, and it paid off for him there. So he's able to route this dungeon very close to what would be a go mode, not really wasting any time on the routing. And with 10 hearts, Bombos, and half magic, this should be a fairly comfortable cold stare fight here.
Right.
Xeronix activating their flute that they picked up on Death Mountain. This really might just come down to how quickly Xeronix gets over to desert area to pick up those mitts.
Right. Now it's all just around. So Shakupal picking up his cold stare crystal.
And it looks like Xeronix is going to head over and do the Dark World checks that he tried to do earlier.
Right, Shakupal going into the Mire area, so we'll finally get to see what the Mire, it is to get inside Mire. Hopefully it's not Ether, because Xeronix is going to need to go find that.
Yeah, and he's right in the area to do it now. I wonder if he'll remember that he's still got Sick Kit available.
Right. But he's going to go over and check out the Mad Batter, while Shakupal is going to check out Checkerboard Cave. Checkerboard Cave yields us our shield. And we have a piece of heart on the back.
Yeah, so still striking out on that hook shot. You have to think that it's in Desert Palace or Mire here. That seems to be the most likely locations left.
Right. Hopefully not on top of the torch here in Desert. Nope, there's the compass.
Yeah, and hopefully not on the pedestal, which is still a potential option here.
Right.
Fox pointing out that Shakupal's cold stare fight was very clean. We've seen a lot of very good boss fights so far. Great execution on the boss fights. A couple of low health boss fights. A very good job by these runners so far.
Right. In the big chest check, and we have Smokey.
So Shakupal getting their exercise today in Desert Palace, running back and forth. Starting to like the idea of hookshot on ped.
Oh no. kind of also need the pet for GT. Yeah, for left side checks.
I think watching a ped seed for chat it's like seeing a car accident. You don't want it to happen, but if it's gonna happen, you want to be there to see it.
Right. Or in my case, it's like quad aces versus a royal flush. You don't want it to happen, but it will happen.
It's just a numbers game.
Yeah, reason I bring that up. I'm a poker dealer by trade.
Excellent.
So Shikupo picking up his fourth crystal.
No, I believe you had it right the first time. He's got Ice Palace in his pocket as well, so that's crystal number 5 for Shikupo.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Tracker is a little bit behind, but that's okay.
They catch way more than I do when I'm tracking.
Right. Chat pointing out that you can do left side Ganon Tower without the hook shot, bomb jumps and bonks.
But we're not going to be able to get into Ganon's Tower without that 7th crystal in Swamp Palace, for which we need the hook shot.
Right. Maybe it's here with Jeremiah.
Yeah, those mitts opening up a few more checks here. Shikupo's got to be hoping to find it in one of these Smith chain checks, because the alternative is Dark Death Mountain, and if you don't find it there, then you really start having bad thoughts about Pendant Turtle Rock. Still a long way to go before we have to worry too much about Ped.
Right. Well, we found our lamp.
And maybe that's what they were looking for to tackle Misery Mire.
Oh yeah, the basement of my.
Definitely one of the harder dark rooms in the game. Ooh, in a book, another item that you don't want to be seeing late in the seed. It's only going to open up some pretty out of the way checks.
Yeah, it opens up tablets. At least we'll be able to get the ped check too.
What, and kill all the mystery?
Right.
Meanwhile, Zero Nix making their way across the northern Dark World.
Right. Maybe it's here in the maybe the hook shot's here in the lunchbox. I'm thinking maybe Shikupo's starting to get a little bit desperate on finding that hook.
And Zero Nix still searching for those mitts that'll open up all of the crystals that Shikupo's already tackled.
And we have So we have all the swords.
Yeah, and a good choice picking up the purple chest, being able to route it in with the Bombos tablet, which takes a little bit of the sting off of this particular check. And Team Blue Boomerang can breathe a sigh of relief. It has been located.
So, are you team?
I'm a Team Red guy. I like the red boomerang better.
Yep, same here. All right, Shakupal playing the Meyer check, and we need Bombo.
Yeah, you have to wonder whether Xeronix forgot about the Agena check. They're going up the mountain to check Ether, which is pretty far out of the way. They've got the flute. They could flute over to Agena pretty quickly.
Maybe.
Really hoping to route it in with Desert Palace or just not check it at all, but in this case it's costing them some precious time.
He's going back into Hera. So we'll get that coffee break right now. Hopefully. Shakupal going to the backside of Meyer. Yep, Zero pulling off that coffee break very well.
Yeah, and it's easy to say from here where we know where the mitts are, to look at Zero's routing and question it. But you know, he is going for some of the longer checks in the game over a pretty easy Sphere 1 check. You know, but you have to question the routing a little bit in that regard.
Right.
And I was fully prepared for that to be hookshot and immediately proved me wrong.
Yeah, that's what Rando does, right?
We've got a green pendant turn-in coming up on Zero's side, while Shakupal's already down in the basement of Meyer. I didn't actually catch what the first item was in Meyer.
Neither did I. Maybe Chad got that for us.
I'm hearing from my sources that it was 10 arrows.
Yep, we have the same sources. They also say 10 arrows.
And this is a fight that Shakupal was practicing before the race started here. Tempered sword, wooden arrow, Vitreous. The cape making dash strats a lot easier than using the NMG spin strats. And just 8 more arrows takes down Vitreous.
Nice play on that. And Victorious has the hook.
And at 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 17 seconds, Shakupal is officially in go mode.
Xeronix finally picking up his Titan.
And he's got a lot of ground to cover to catch up. He's got to finish all of Ice Palace, all of Desert Palace, all of Misery Mire.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Shikupo can fly through a go mode swamp and then head up to Ganon's Tower. So you'd have to think at this point this is Shikupo's race to lose. There would need to be some major mistakes on his part in order for Zero to make up that gap.
Right, like a couple deaths on in GT, or being pushed back by Ganon in the fourth phase. Stuff we don't want to think about.
Yeah, we certainly don't ever hope for that sort of outcome.
No.
And Zero Nick's not executing poorly here. I mean, to get to this point at 120, they're going to find their go mode once they tackle Misery Mire. Not going slowly, but Shikupo making good work of this seed. Good routing, good execution.
Definitely, even on Zero Nick's side. So here you go, Zero Nick setting up for his ice.
Very well done there. We might see a couple of checks from Shikupo on their way through the flooded room down here. It looks like they're going to do Diver Down on their way through GT. Obviously, they'll make some checks. It'd be nice to pick up Silver Arrows, although not necessary. I think for these runners, they both should be fairly confident in a Tempered Sword Silverless Cannon. Butter Sword in Shikupo's case.
Yes. Skipping those two checks. And even if we don't find it, Ganon will tell us where he hit. I get the sneaky suspicion he put the servers on the pedestal.
That would be quite mean of him. I think he's going to be slightly less mean and stick him on Laser Bridge. And a one-cycle Argus for Shikupo. Very well done.
And is awarded with the bombs, and that is all 7 on Shikupo's side. So now we like to play a little guessing game here. We're in Ganon's Tower is the big key. We've got 22 chests in Ganon's Tower. We have from now until the time that Shikupo makes his way into Ganon's Tower. So, McMonkey, I'd like to ask you this. Where do you think Ganon hid that big key?
Well, I usually go with 8 or 19. I'm going to go with 19 today. We've got a pretty quick seed. I want to see a little bit more of this execution.
I'm going to go with my number. I'm going to go with number 9. Zero making quick work of his Cold Stare fight. Picks up his crystal. No, Shakupal did to confirm in chat, Shakupal did complete Meyer. It's trackers being a little bit was a little bit delayed. And Deadrock's giving Shakupal a little bit of a hard time. All right, get your last minute guesses in here. All right, no more bets. Chest 1, small key. Chest 2, 20 rupees.
And Shakupal opt for a full right side play here.
Goes right through tile. Gibdo giving him a little.
Water Sword will make quick work of that.
So we find the compass there. So we need the big key, and we just need one, and now he's just going to be looking for one more small. And that was chest 3.
It's chest number 4.
Alright.
Well, so now we get to climb the top of Ganon's tower here. While Zero Nix makes their way through Desert Palace. All of those bottles are going to come in handy on the climb through the gauntlet here. I believe they've got a blue and a green potion in their back pocket.
And now Shakupal makes his way through the gauntlet. And nice work through the powders. The bunny beam turns it into a fairy.
We've got synchronized land molists.
There's Butter Sword making quick. And since Shakupal has the butter sword, it is, I believe, six spin strats on.
That's right. It'll be 6 slashes in phase 1 and 2, and I think it's still 6 spins on the final phase.
Right. Because I know it's 12 with the.
Oh, you know, it may still be 12 because the spins for a tempered sword do gold sword damage, and the gold sword does not do additional damage with a spin. So that last phase may still be 12 spins. Someone in chat can correct us if I'm wrong.
And Shakupal needing to be a little bit careful there, waiting to hear that ding. Otherwise, we could have the whole tower. If he goes up the stairs while we hear the ding, the whole tower. Yep, 12 spins. Zero having a little bit of trouble doing that, but the bonk jump over the pit there in the entrance to Misery.
Yeah, maybe used to having the hook shot there, doesn't get a lot of practice with the bonk jump there. It can be a little tricky not to grab onto the wall or the block, but got it in the end.
Right. And Shakupal, nice work on Moldorm 2, and we now go on to
get a couple hits per cycle here. He's able to get the double, as you say.
And he got a triple there.
Potentially a triple there. The two of those hit pretty close to each other, so we'll see if they registered as a double or a triple.
And down goes Aga 2. And go on.
Yeah, you have to imagine Shakupal's feeling pretty good about dropping it again and at 132, 133.
And Ganon asking us about
Never a bad time for a spicy barbacoa burrito.
I'm going to order one.
Xeronix making it through the first Mire Dark Room pretty easily. That's not an easy room to get through. Good job by them getting through and using the cape here to dodge the spikes. Meanwhile, Shakupal finishing up phase 3, and we'll see where our silvers were. And they were in GT. Hiding in plain sight.
Oh, well.
In Ganon's Tower.
Probably.
We don't have time for that.
Gets the torch glitch as well, so it's 12 spins. Uses
Yeah, good call there. He was getting dangerously close on health there.
Yeah, it's all about timing here. And one of the silvers not in Ganon's tower, right? Anyway, Shakupal takes down the big pig. We have Bacon. And finishes with a time of 1 hour and 35 minutes. Get your GGs in chat for Shakupal.
Very well done. A great time by Shakupal. And Xironix taking down Vitreous to find his hook shot in go mode right around the same time that Shakupal is picking up the Triforce.
We'll see if Shakupal wants to come in and
Xironix making their way over to Swamp Palace to get their last crystal. So a very well done seed by Shakupal. Great execution, both runners, especially on the boss fights. And we have Shakupal joining us now. GG, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So, question here. First of all,
I was really scared at the beginning when I just YOLO'd Dark World and went to Thieves' Town for no reason, but it kind of worked out, I guess, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, Thieves' Town not paying off directly, but your routing in general was solid. You made quick work of this seed. How are you feeling about a 135?
Pretty good actually. Yeah, it's one of my better times for sure. I think my second fastest. I have one seed faster than this, so yeah, feel pretty good.
So that early, let me ask you about that early climb up Death Mountain.
Yeah, I saw after I got the mirror, the whole mountain was basically open to me. I knew the boots were there, so I was just like, dark old man, and let's go. Let's try to get him quick. And then the flute was there too, which was really cool.
You did great work with those.
I got lost in that pod one for a while. I had to pause and pull up the map, but yeah, it worked out in the end.
And I was curious, were you looking for the lamp as a hard requirement for Meyer, or would you have been willing to try that without the lamp?
If it wasn't in Smith's, I was going to try it. I've never done it though, so it would have been very sketchy.
And early on, you headed over to the Zora area and ended up having to orphan the Zora check itself due to not having enough rupees. Was that in the back of your mind at any point during the seed?
I felt dumb when I got there. I was like, oh, I'm 100 rupees short, so I checked the stun prize, checked the waterfall, and then I was like, okay, if it's Zora, I lose, and then just forgot about it. Kind of a sketchy play.
As it turns out, it was only 20 rupees on Zora, so you made the better investment.
Luck, I guess.
Yeah, great execution all around. Your boss fights were very clean. You had a near perfect blind. You took down all of the bosses with ease. Made your way through the dungeons without any hiccups. Not really a lot you could look at as a mistake here. So very well done on that.
Thank you. I've been working on boss fights a lot. That's where I've spent a lot of my time.
So once you made your way over to Agina and picked up the mitts that really broke things open for you, how were you feeling at the point where you found the mitts, with Agina being a Sphere 1 check that you could have potentially gone to very early in the seed? You didn't get to it until a little over an hour in. Were you just relieved to see the mitts? Did you feel like you might be behind there, or were you still feeling pretty good?
I was feeling like in between somewhere. I was like, okay, I could have had these a long, long time ago. I don't even remember where the other glove was. But yeah, I was just relieved mainly.
Yeah, the other glove was in, I believe that was either in Escape or in Blind's hideout.
Oh yeah, it was
very early.
That's right.
Xeronix picks up their 7th crystal from Swamp Palace and now head up to GT. So congrats on being 3-0, heading into the open round again. Are you relieved to be able to have a mentor again next week?
Yes, I definitely want to learn some more stuff. And I'm really bad at open compared to Ambrosia, I think. So I hope I can learn some things to help there.
And what's on your list of things to learn from a mentor this week?
I don't know anything specific, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. Hard question.
Yeah. Now, when you did the dark rooms, was that something that you were also working on, or
the dark rooms? Yeah, I've practiced a lot. The pod one in particular, I've spent a lot of time trying to get through that because it's kind of difficult, and I got lost still, and I had to pull up the map halfway through, so it needs work still.
But you did a great job with the dark rooms.
Thank you.
Yeah, those aren't easy with the pressure of a race. I certainly don't fault you. I always bring the map up doing the dark rooms. Particularly that pod maze is one that I always like to have the map up for.
Yeah, it's tricky, especially when you get hit by the first little dude right at the beginning and it knocks you off that easy track and you kind of get lost from there.
I see Xeronix here checking out Super Bunny Cave. Not sure they're in go mode here. Maybe they're hoping to find silver arrows on their way to GT.
Right.
Shkupal has some fans in chat, it seems.
Oh no. I wasn't looking.
Anything else stand out to you about this seed as being interesting, different?
The hookshot on Vitreous was kind of rude, I feel like. Because if I didn't get that lamp, it would have been quite the surprise to get it there. Was not expecting it to be there.
Yeah, that is a tough location.
Chad was saying that it probably could have been on the.
Yeah, I've had a pedestal hookshot seed and it was not fun, especially because the message, I didn't even understand what it meant when it was like Boeing. I don't even remember what the message is, but it confused me.
I had a hookshot pedestal seed, and it was one I was doing casually, so I paused the emulator and searched the GitHub repository for what that message meant to find out that it was the hookshot.
Yeah, luckily I had a friend I could ask who was hanging around, and they told me what it was.
Right. And Xeronix going left side, abandoning.
Yeah, unfortunate. Maybe he's gonna allow them to find the silver arrows on the way, but certainly is gonna make finding the big key a lot longer. So Shakupa, I noticed you had a different mentor each of the first 2 weeks. Are you looking to rotate mentors through all of the Swiss rounds? Are you just trying to get different perspectives on your play?
Yes, that's been my plan, I guess, is to kind of make my way through some mentors, see what everybody thinks.
Come playoffs, are you going to continue to rotate mentors, or you think you'll try to find one?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I guess it depends on how I'm feeling. If I find a mentor that's like amazing or it really clicks, maybe. But I think I kind of want to keep going and just get different perspectives.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, we found the silvers. They were left side. Yeah, nice job with that Shakupo and with the.
Yeah, I've had a couple of seeds go wrong there, and I've also practiced that quite a bit because of that. It's a scary fight. It really is.
Yeah, and doing it during a race makes it even scarier.
Yeah, because you're staring at that window, waiting for your opponent to finish or stuff like that, all kinds of distractions.
We come into.
And those silver arrows will come in handy right away on this Ice Armos fight.
Almost.
I think I prefer Disney on ice.
Right.
And while we watch Zero finish up the right side here, pick up his big key, take another opportunity to say if you're enjoying what you're watching, give our runners a follow. Our wonderful staff here, Lumaga, our restreamer, Danny Music on tracking, my fellow commentator, Yoko, you're doing a great job. If you feel so inclined, give them a follow as well. Give them a big thanks.
Zero Nix got picked up by the wall master in that conveyor belt room, so he had to go all the way back to the beginning. This room can be a little bit tricky for new players.
Oh, I've done that so many times. Dashing on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, and that spike really giving him the business.
But he makes it.
And perhaps feeling a bit completionist, opening the rest of the checks. And now we've just got the climb and the gauntlet. looking very smooth through the first couple of mimic rooms. Opting to just skip the safety room with only 4 hearts left. We'll have an opportunity to refill right before fighting Lanmo, but could get into a little bit of trouble. He should still have those potions, the blue potion in his back pocket.
Right. Yeah, also Shakupal, nice work going through the gauntlet as well, too. Very well.
Thank you. I feel like that's one of the, I don't want to say easy, but like you have to do it every seed, so it kind of gets a lot of practice. So I don't know. I've worked out some things depending on what items I get throughout the run to make it easier.
Me, when I have to hit that gauntlet, all I do is I just break out bombos everywhere.
Yeah, I did that for a long time. It helps tremendously, especially in that ice room with the skeleton. No, thank you.
Right, and you know, it's to each his own. It's whatever you feel comfortable with and how to handle.
Zero, gotta be careful here. Only 2 hearts left.
He's now down to a heart and a half. Brings out his blue goo. Down goes Land.
Nicely down, taking down both sets of Wizrobes cleanly. And just getting through the door before time runs out. Just 2 more rooms before Moldorm. So another good climb through the gauntlet there from Xeronix.
And doing dash strats on Helmasaur. I mean, on you know, after a while the dungeon bosses start looking.
That's right.
Just thinking of how terrifying Helmasaur would be right here.
I've done it in boss shuffle. It is not fun. Getting a double there on the second time through, and well set up here for a triple. Just needing 1 or 2 more hits.
2 and down goes I.
He's going to have to be a little bit careful in the Ganon fight, having used the blue potion already.
Right. But... $16 hearts, tempered, and silvers. I think he's got this pretty well.
Now I'm hungry all over again.
Yep. Using the cape strats on second phase. Gotta be careful here not to use up all his magic.
But as Danny, our tracker, points out, that he still has a green potion. And with the silver arrows, he won't need much magic at the fourth phase.
Chat giving Zero support as well.
Oh, worried me a little bit there with the warping of Ganon almost on top of him.
And he got the torch glitch too.
Just one more silver arrow will do it.
Yeah. Down goes Ganon on Zero's side. Get your... And Zero Nix finishes with a time of 1 hour 50.
Yeah, and the difference here really was Shigopal getting the boots quite a bit earlier and picking up the mitts quite a bit earlier, which allowed him to create a lead and then just build on it as Zero Nix was checking a lot of one-offs. We'll see if Zero Nix is feeling up for a interview here.
Is this the right place?
Yep, GG.
Thank you.
So first of all, you'll let me ask you your
It could have been a lot better. I skipped some things on purpose, and then ended up going back and looking for them. It was the glove in Agina that really killed me. I think that could have been a lot faster. Kind of forced me to make some different choices than I normally would have made. I usually avoid Mire in the dark like the plague, but it actually wasn't too bad. I was actually very happy with that in the dark. But
yeah, you did a very good job on that, on those Mire dark rooms.
I have the mentality if I can get through the first room, then we're good. And somehow I found it right away. I'm like, okay, this could work. So I was happy with that.
That room can be a little bit of a pain in
Yeah, those mitts certainly eluded you for quite a long time. The boots as well, you got quite a bit later. Holding off on Death Mountain for quite a long time. What were you hoping to find something else before heading up Death Mountain?
My thought was that it was out of logic because I didn't have lamp or the flute at the time. I knew boots were there, and actually that's where flute ended up being, was up on the mountain. So I don't know where lamp was. Probably like a low sphere check that I just avoided. But that was my main reservation, and knowing that Hera and Turtle Rock were pendants, I kind of pushed it off. But probably would have gone a little early. I don't really mind doing the old man room in the dark, so I would have gotten those boots earlier, which definitely would have helped. But I think the big killer for me was definitely the gloves.
Yeah, and that lamp was locked behind the gloves over during the smith chain somewhere.
Okay, yep. Yeah, once I got that, it all kind of opened up for me. I was very happy to find Hookshot on Mire, because then I was just in go mode and I could just quickly get through Swamp.
Yeah, and you did a dip of Swamp earlier. At that point, did you feel like you were behind and kind of needed a gamble to catch up, or were you just hoping to get lucky and catch Hookshot in there?
With the conversation with Vitorp in my first round, he put the little bug in my brain that if it's something that you're one item away from, that you might as well dip it. It was a crystal. If it was a pendant, I probably would have done that. But his thinking is that if it's there, if the hookshot's in there, great. It's a great play. You go in and finish the dungeon. But if it's not, then those checks you were going to do later on anyway, most likely. So I made the dip hoping to find something, and it was just all kinds of garbage.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. But your boss fights were fantastic. You did a great job, especially early on. You had some heart attack boss fights with very low health.
Except for Landmos. I don't know why, but they were my nemesis today. I felt so bad. But yeah, early game, my heart was racing through my chest. I'm like, I guess I'm just like two-hearting this whole game. I thought it was just going to be... Because even in the overworld, I kept catching myself in enemies and ending up being in low heart situations for a lot lot of it. So
yeah, you certainly had me on the edge of my seat.
Good.
Yeah, same here, and same with Chad.
It's what we're here for, a good show, right? Figured the only thing more exciting would have been a Ped Seed, but seeing Turtle Rock was that the last pendant that I would have needed, and being locked behind it, I unfortunately couldn't at least check it for you guys.
So heading into open weeks, getting
Yes.
a mentor back next week, how are you feeling about open?
Well, these were my first Ambrosia Seeds, starting with the practice run we did at the start of the tournament. So I definitely feel pretty good about these. I had mainly done open mode before, so I definitely need to do a couple just to get back in the swing of things. Mainly routing in the early escape checks and escape checks and the sewer checks. But feeling pretty good. I think that's where I'll do a little bit better with. Though I did really like Ambrosia, and this 157 was the fastest time I've had in this tournament, and it feels good getting sub 2s again. I hadn't had any of those since V31 came out. I had a couple in V30, but this one and my first week with Vitorp have been I've been welcoming them with open arms. That's for sure.
Yeah, great job getting the sub 2s. Definitely, it's nice to see improvement in a tournament that's designed to help improve.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I can't really. I mean, obviously GG's to Scoople, but his score was like 20 minutes faster than my PB, so I can't really be too upset about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Was the big difference between our play that he just got those mids early and kind of just ran wild?
No, he got them fairly late as well. Okay. That was he didn't do as many one-off checks looking for them. So once you started going and doing a lot of one-off checks, he kind of honed in on Agina after getting the flute and was able to pick those up, and that broke a lot of things open for him. That obviously allowed him to go after a lot of the remaining crystals and find the hook shot to unlock Swamp.
Yeah, I definitely found myself in a situation. I thought I only had a couple one-off checks left. I wasn't even thinking about Agina. So I'm sure you saw after I did one or two one-offs, I kind of paused. I'm like, what do I even have left? And then I was like, oh yeah, this. And then it just was an endless checklist until finally Agina, and boy did I feel goofy after that.
Yeah, it's not a fun place to find those.
Nope. But improvements, and I'm definitely excited to watch back the commentary you guys did to kind of compare and see what I was thinking versus what I should have been doing. And that's been, I think, the most beneficial part of this is, one, having the mentor watching you and giving you kind of real-time feedback, but then also just having the opportunities to watch these restreams back and just get all that information. It's definitely been helpful.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great tournament all around. The casting crews, the mentors, the racers. It's been an excellent experience from all sides.
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Great. Well, GG again to
Thank
Shkoople.
you.
GG to Zero. Good race. Very well executed to both of you, and good luck next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. GG.
And with that, I think we can wrap things up here. We do have a schedule. I think our next restream is going to be tomorrow. I don't think we have another one on tap for tonight. But tune in tomorrow for some more.
Actually, we do have another restream for tonight at 10 o'clock. It is Traceum versus Petal.
Even better. The more rando, the better.
Right, so that's coming up at 10 o'clock tonight.
Great, so we will clear the airwaves here so they can get set up in the green room. We'll clean up our trash and head on out.
And don't forget, if you get like what you saw here, give these runners a follow. Give their mentors a follow. We couldn't have done all of this without help from our